I've been seeing a lot of videos recently with people just throwing up some YouTube gameplay or some like uh Black Ops 2 multiplayer, some Arc Raiders, and they kind of just talk about stuff that they want to get off their chest and stuff, and I kind of want to try that. I've been kind of inspired by some. I'll put channel links in the description. They're not coming to my head right now, but I have one in mind. Maybe it hit me at some point in this video and I'll just say it, but she's one of the people. I'll make sure I tag him in the description. But I want to talk about a story today, and that story is how letting go of anger and letting go of someone who causes anger is a perfectly okay thing to do, even if in the moment it seems tough and you won't be able to do it. I can promise you, once you get to that point, you'll feel so much better. So I'm gonna take us back to a time. And this might be dicey. I'm not reading off a script or anything, but take you back to the summer before sophomore year for me. During this time, I was best friends with someone. I'm not gonna say her name, but I'll call her. We'll call her V. Me and V were super close, and I wasn't seeing anyone, but she was. She had a boyfriend. I'll call him E. So V and E were, you know, very. They've been together for like 2 years at this point, and they're very close. They're very tight with each other. Like they know like everything about one another. And she used to tell me a lot about him and like how awesome he was, and I never had anything to say because like I wasn't seeing anybody, but I was happy for her, and I let her know that. I always thought I was happy for her, and that I'm happy that she's able to have that connection with somebody. But shortly, this is like beginning of second semester in freshman year. She starts talking about how her relationship with E is falling off, and like how they're not as like they've been arguing more than they've been talking lately. And I was like, that sucks. And I was there with her and everything, and it got to the point where it became like an everyday thing of them arguing and them like not agreeing with anything going on in their relationship. So I always tried to help her in that stuff. And fast forward a little bit into probably right after school ended. So this is probably like June 5th, something like that. Um, Me and her were getting like a lot closer, right? Because her and her boyfriend were kind of falling out, and me and her were like getting super close because we were already close. But with this, like, she felt trusted to tell me like stuff about the relationship and everything. And she invited me over to her sister's house one day, and she had just met her sister. She didn't even know she had a sister up until like probably like maybe like a 3 weeks before she invited me over. So I went over to her house, and I met her sister, um, met her sister's friends, and all I can really remember is that night we smoked, and she broke up with her boyfriend that night. And mind you, we are together on the couch. It's just me and her, and then her sister and her sister's boyfriend sitting next to each other on the opposite side of the couch. We're sharing a little blanket, her head's on my shoulder, and we're just talking about life and everything, like our perfect dates and stuff, and talking about like where we want to be in a certain amount of time. And she tells me and shows me that she broke up with E. And I don't remember if I said anything. I might have been like rooting her on and been like, nice job, like that was coming. But we went and got some food after that, and the night was pretty much done. And we kept talking for a couple days. We have a friend in the middle, and I texted that friend in the middle, and I was like, hey, I'm not gonna lie to you, I might have feelings for V. And she was like, no way, really? And I was like, yeah, no, for real. And I talked to her about it, and then me and her hung out again and again before eventually V asked me to stay the night at her sister's house. And I mean, at this point, we're talking so much. Like, we're calling each other, we're talking a lot, and like, I kind of thought in like the back of my mind, I thought it was more of like she needs someone to comfort her while, her and E figure each other out. Like, because they were like the perfect couple, you know, like whenever you thought of like a couple that would make it, there were two couples that would, you know, come up, and like they were part of that, those two couples. So there was like no chance, and I thought that she wanted me to comfort her while, you know, all this is going on. Maybe she's like trying to find herself, he was trying to find himself, you know, all that mumbo jumbo. But um, of course, I ended up going over. Okay, so whenever I got there, um, me and her had like just like we had just settled in for us being there. We are like getting ready for, you know, because it's gonna be a long night. You know, we're staying the night with one another, right, at our sister's house. So we decided that we were just gonna chill and smoke. But whenever we were about to, you know, take the first hit and everything, her sister came back and said that like, yo, we gotta go 2 hours away from the crib. And I honestly, funny enough, to this day, I don't even know where we were possibly going. Like, I genuinely have no idea where we needed to go still, and I was in that car. But it was a 2 hour drive, and I remember that 2 hours felt like 30 minutes just being there and talking with V, and like the entire time. And it's like a 2 hour trip feeling like 30 minutes. That's how you know, like, you know, you're spending time with a good quality person, right? And that's how I viewed it, you know? So whenever me and her got to the place that we needed to be, which again, I have no idea where we even were, just some random place 2 hours away. I don't even know what we went there for, but we got there, we talked some more, and then on the way back, it was a 2 hour trip back, but again, it felt like 30 minutes to me. 30 minutes, me and her were just, you know, we were chilling in the back seat, and eventually, we were like, I think maybe her phone was dying or on charge and she couldn't get to it, so I put out my phone and I had Crossy Road installed. So me and her started playing Crossy Road, but like she had her head on my shoulder, and then she grabbed onto my hand from the back and intertwined. So like I was the left side, she was the right side, and like, you know, but like her hand was intertwined with mine, you know, on like the back of my phone. And eventually, you know, we got back to her sister's crib right after playing Crossy Road like that for like 2 hours. We got back, and we didn't let go of each other's hand getting out of the car. You know, it's like teenage love stuff, like teenage feeling for each other. You know, and eventually it gets to that point. We do end up smoking. Eventually, because we just got back, we were like, yeah, we should smoke. So we smoked, and then we decided that we were gonna watch a movie, and that movie was The Babadook. And during like probably like the middle of this movie, that's when like it happened. Like maybe like not even the middle of the movie. I would say like 10-15 minutes into the movie, she climbed up on top of me, and I remember she kind of hesitated for a little bit going in for a kiss, and she kind of whispered in my ear. She was kind of like, "Can I kiss you?" And I was like, I didn't even like answer. I kind of just pulled her head in, and we started kissing. And that's kind of how the rest of the movie went. I don't remember. I don't remember if we turned it off or not, because I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty stoned. But um, I do know. Eventually, you were listening to music, but like this is probably like a 3 hour time jump from like 12 to 4 a.m. So I don't know. Lil Dicky was playing. I do remember that. That was a song about him being high. I don't remember the name. Anyways, doesn't matter. Off topic. But um, yeah, following that night, I woke up with her. You know, we were hugging while we were sleeping. You know, she was on top of me. I know I woke up, we woke up to each other, you know, holding on to each other. Like we slept through the night like that. We were hugging each other. I think we fell asleep like that, honestly. We just fell asleep on top of one another. She fell asleep on top of me, and I was just holding on to her. And we're under a cute little blanket. We did the same thing we did last night. We were just making out, you know, smoking, all that stuff. We only got McDonald's breakfast, and then I eventually went home. But we kept talking like we were like together in a relationship. Like we kind of just kept talking like that, and then like, you know, I kept going over to her sister's house and all that. But I'd say like maybe like 2 weeks after this, 2 weeks after, I end up pulling up to her place, and I kind of snuck in. Like her mom didn't know I was going. Her mom wasn't there. I kind of just snuck in, and I'm not gonna tell the deets of what happened, but like, you know, at like one point of at one point of me being there, we ended up getting together for like a little, like it was a stint. It was literally 3 hour stint of us being together because her mom, she said her mom like found me being over there and all that stuff, you know, and she was grounded, she could never see me again, which I think we kind of both knew was gonna blow over, but it's like, you know, it was really upsetting for both of us. And then after that we still continued talking, of course, like a little like grounding threat was gonna stop us. I think she had like she had like a trap phone, had a backup phone, so you know she was strapped. But you know, she was good. Like it didn't really matter. We were still talking. We were still talking to each other. You know, we were fine. But I'd say after that, after we broke up and all that, we were still talking. Of course, I've said it like 5 times, but you know, after that though, she went to the beach, and I would say this is kind of where everything kind of starts to like down spiral. So while she was at the beach, I'm assuming she added a bunch of people on Snapchat. Like, you know, like sometimes you have like Snapchat Huzz on your Snap. You kind of just go to your quick add and just add everybody. I think that's what she did. And she was telling me about it, and I was kind of like, okay, that's kind of weird, but like, okay, cool, whatever. You know, I won't hate on your Huzz search. You know, like whatever. We're not officially together, so while it's weird while we're talking, you know, I'm not gonna like, you know, I'm not gonna say anything about it. It's just weird. She was telling me about like the hose on her Snap, but there was one incident that kind of like started the down spiral. This is probably like she's probably been on the beach for like 5 days up to this point, and she was acting like really weird. Like I could tell she was being like a little suspicious in the way she was acting, and I didn't. I mean, you know, I kind of questioned it, but I wasn't gonna be like, okay, yeah, you gotta tell me what's going on right now. You know, I didn't really ask her about it, but I do remember before I did this thing, me and her were having like a very important conversation, but I don't remember what it was about. I think maybe her phone was breaking and she wasn't able to text me or snap me as much. I think that's what happened. I could be wrong, but it's a little blurry. But I do remember whenever we were talking about that, she told me she had to go like really urgently. Like she had to cut the conversation off. I remember this because I was pretty sad at this moment because, like, you know, I want to talk to my girl. Like that's her, you know. Even if we're not officially dating, she's still like my girl, you know. So like at this point, I'm kind of sad, and I can see that she's still active on Snapchat whenever you know, like she said that she had to go and she had to leave urgently. And I was like, it was like, this is like 10 minutes after she texted me that. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of curious. And she had given me her Snap login like probably whenever we first started talking. And I was kind of like, okay, you know, I trust her enough. And I kind of was having like this mental battle between myself, like I should check it or should I not? And eventually I checked it. And I wouldn't recommend doing this. You know, you should always have full trust in your partner if you want to, you know, have a legit relationship with somebody. But whenever I did do this, I did find something, and it was her and E talking about getting back together after the summer. And you know, I think her text read like something like, you know, I only want to be single and talk to him for the summer. After this blows over, you know, I just want to live a little. And that actually, I think that made my heart drop to the floor. Like it hurt more because it just didn't feel like she cared about our friendship, you know? She kind of just threw it in the trash and was like, all right, well, I'm gonna toy with his emotions now and stuff. And at the same time, this also does fall on me because there was one time in I think one time we were having a talk and she was like, I don't actually want to commit to a relationship, but she kept flirting with me like she did, so I couldn't, like, you know, but like my brain's stupid enough to tell me I just gotta keep going for it and maybe one day it'll happen. Which, if that is true, it will not happen. Do not fall for it. It's like 500 Days of Summer with Tom and Summer. Tom is like, Summer said all this about me. I don't know, bro. Then she's like, no. I don't really want anything like that. But Tom is already attached, so he can't really just let go. You know what I mean? Like it hurts to let go more, I guess, than just staying in that situation. And that's what I'm getting at here. At this point, I didn't let her go after they had that talk, and I kind of stuck around for a little while, even after, I mean, like, her talking about her huzz got worse, you know, the people she was talking to got worse. It's like, she kept me around just so I could see her have that success of her like talking
The rest
to
of the story is
everybody
kind of
and
blurry to
stuff.
me
You know,
because
that
it's kind of
really
like all
did
happened in
hurt.
a
I'll never
flash.
forget
But
how
like,
how painful it was to be like talking to her and how angry I was just talking to her on a daily basis. I will say, me and her stopped. I think me and her stopped talking like 3 days before school started, or like a day before school started. And you know, I was trying to distance myself, but she kept just like swinging back with more stuff to say to me, and you know, I kept falling for it every time until eventually, the middle person in our friendship, you know, texted me and was like, "Yo, I'm not gonna lie, she's on the phone with another guy right now. You just gotta let go." And so, that's what did it. I blocked her on everything. Past that point, we didn't really talk very much, and still to this day, we don't talk very much. I mean, we did catch up. Cause she did text me like 2 months later after all this happened. She was like, she told me she was sorry, and I remember my response back was just, "I don't believe you." And then I said like, "I don't really want you back in my life, but I'm cool with just catching up with you and seeing how you're doing." You know, the biggest thing is that eventually I did let her go, and while I still think about it sometimes, it's not in a way of I want her to come back and I want her to try it with us. It's more just in a way like it's like a I'm looking at it in the rearview mirror, all the way back there. I'm kind of just looking at it, you know, but I'm keeping my eye on the road because what's important is staying in the present moment, you know? Like, just make sure you stay in the present moment of, like, what's going on in your life. Because looking back on the past is never going to help, and that's what I want to say about holding on to anger and, you know, struggling to let go of somebody. Because at the end of the day, no matter what, I mean, it's hard to let go of somebody, even if they did you like so dirty and so wrong. I just want to say that, like, you know, whenever I did let go of her and I let go of the anger, you know, I actually could talk to her, like, you know, I actually was able to like talk to her without holding like any resentment towards her and having that anger towards her. And the way I view it, it's like you shouldn't give your heart to somebody who makes you mad or angry. Or like if it's a friend and you've been like holding some resentment against them for so long, you should just let go, because at the end of the day, life goes on. And it's just one of those things where you just got to keep going. Life isn't going to stop because you're angry at somebody, because you're upset with somebody. You just got to keep your head up and just keep going. And especially if you're holding something against somebody, giving your heart to somebody that just makes you mad and upset isn't ever going to help you. You should always keep your heart with the right person, because that right person is going to come along. They always do. You're always going to find that person. So I would just say to you what I did. I just let go. I stopped looking for like romantic stuff, you know, because at the end of the day, whenever that comes along, it's gonna come along. I just wanted to say that for anyone who's struggling with that, you know, it's okay to let go of anger. It's okay to let go of someone. It's gonna hurt, but it'll hurt a lot more if you keep them around. You know what I mean? Like, you'll be more hurt if you don't let go of that person, and that's at the expense of your own feeling. It might suck letting go of somebody, because I mean, I know whenever I let go of her, of V, I was scared of, you know, her being hurt by it. But at the end of the day, you come first. You in your life is the main character, and you should never not think that. Now, don't go around acting like you're the main character, but like, think of yourself as the main character in your mind, which is why you should always keep your mind healthy, keep your mental state healthy. You should always try and be kind to yourself and do what you think comes first to yourself. Your mind can kill you if you don't keep it healthy. So keeping that person around is never going to help you. Holding that anger is never going to help you. That anger is dangerous, and it's going to make you make bad decisions, and that's what it did to me. You should just be honest and just say, like, you know, like, okay, well, I mean, it's whatever. At the end of the day, you know, I did the best I could with them, but they didn't care. So you can just let them go and stop holding on to that anger. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. Sorry I blabbered on, and I hope you enjoyed. And I hope many more of these to come.